I was following maybe an incorrect or maybe not the best path for me. So
I was on the struggle bus for a really long time as I was raising you.
sometimes it really came out at home. Like I couldn't stand being around my family sometimes. And it takes a second to adjust from this is my mother, but this is also like my friend.
What do you think a girl needs from her mom?
Yeah, I think
You think they're not listening. You think they're just being teenagers rolling their eyes while scrolling their phones. But what if I told you? They're soaking in everything. Not your words, but your relationship with your body, with food, your worth. In this episode, I sit down with the one person who's been watching me the closest, my daughter, Grace. And she's not holding back. We talk about beauty, pressure, confidence, comparison, and the tiara moment that changed everything. It's raw, it's real, it's us, and it might just change the way you see yourself and how your daughter sees herself too. Well, today's episode is really emotional for me. I have my daughter, Grace, with us. Grace is my 20-year-old daughter who at 6 years old, even though she doesn't even remember, started talking about calories in food. And it was my wake-up call right then and there where I knew I needed to do something different. Because even though I thought I wasn't talking about calories and dieting and my body, to her, I realized that because it was all part of who I was, what I believed, somehow my beliefs trickled into their conversations, not just with Grace, but with my other daughter, Ellie, who's a year younger than Grace. And so one of the most amazing things as a mom is to watch your kids grow up. And while there are lots of things I regret about how I did things as a mom, I look at my daughter Grace and my daughter Ellie with so much pride because I realized I didn't screw them up that much. I am so proud of the women that they are. And I think back to that day when they were 5 and 6 years old and my youngest asked my daughter Grace, why I didn't eat the pizza during family Friday pizza night. And Grace told her sister because it had too many calories. And while she doesn't even remember that situation, I knew that I was instilling certain values that had to be corrected. I didn't know how to correct them, but I went on a mission. As a mom who would do anything for her kids, just like all the other moms out there, I knew I had to change my family tree. I had an eating disorder that really exposed itself when I was in college. And I know I learned that from the beliefs that I was given as I was raised. And I was determined not to continue that cycle. And so at 20 years old now, my daughter Grace has gone through a lot. We've experienced a lot together. And I'm really excited about this episode where we get to dig in, a conversation. We're at our home. Grace is back from college right now. And I asked her if she would be so kind as to sit with us and actually just have a conversation with me. And to be very honest with you, I've never actually sat down and had this type of direct conversation with her before. And so I'm really excited about what this will unveil and reveal about maybe some of the things I didn't do very well, but hopefully some of the things that I did pretty well that other moms can learn from, especially during the series of raising daughters and taking the lessons that I've learned, the work that I've done with thousands of women all over the world on raising kids and thinking about our own beliefs as we do that. So Grace, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. I'm really excited. I think this was so cool that we can just do this this is very professional. So I'm really excited.
I know. I'm super excited too. I feel like we just need coffee.
I know.
Whatever.
It's okay.
It's good. So Grace, just introduce yourself a little bit because you're just such an amazing young woman. And I feel like your story is a really important one to share because you've been through some stuff.
Yeah, well, my name is Grace. Yes, hello. I'm 20 years old. I'm an incoming sophomore in my theater arts conservatory. And yeah, so I've been through a few things in the past couple of years. I think it's all in growing up and things like that. But, I'm sure some people out there know, but I went to a different college my first year for half of the year. And then I ran into a bunch of unfortunate issues and realization, maybe more fortunate realizations and epiphanies when realizing that I was following maybe an incorrect or maybe not the best path for me. So I got to take a step back, and with help from my mom and my family, we were able to kind of set me back on course. And now I feel like I'm on a pretty secure, well, I feel good about the path that I'm on right now. In this like day in my life, I feel pretty solid. So
I wonder if you could finish this sentence, because I say this all the time, but I feel like I don't know if we've ever said it to me.
yeah.
Confidence does not come from meeting a goal. Confidence comes from knowing what? Can you answer that? Can you finish that sentence?
I think knowing yourself, I think that's at least for me, if I were to finish that for myself right now, I mean, I definitely haven't met, and not that I haven't met any of my goals. Like, yeah, I set small goals for myself that I definitely have met. I feel like I even have exceeded, but there's so much more that I need to do and need to work towards that. Like, I can't just say that like happiness or success comes from meeting a goal or like confidence comes from meeting a goal, because I feel now more confident than I have.
Even though you haven't met all your goals.
Ever, even though I definitely haven't met any of my big goals. Like
But you know what you're doing is right. And you know who you are. And I think that is a huge, I mean, that's what every mom wants for their daughter.
Yeah.
But I also know the little girl who, well, she didn't realize she was talking about calories at such a young age, had a lot of insecurities. And the girl that was 6 to that girl that was 16 who ended up buying herself a tiara. I tell that story all the time.
I know.
And it was such a shocking moment for me. And I don't think, as you grew up, I really worked hard because I was working on myself, which you probably didn't even realize. I mean, even today, like, I'm telling you things about my story and things that happened to me that you didn't know. But as you grew up, I was really looking at the level of confidence that you really didn't have for a very long time. And I tried to plant seeds throughout those 10 years. And I guess for me as a mom, that day when you were 16 years old and you ordered yourself a tiara on Amazon, it was such a full circle moment for me, because I realized she's actually going to be okay. Like, I didn't totally screw her up.
Right.
Like, talk about that moment when you decided you were going to buy yourself a tiara. Because I remember you said to me, because I deserve it. Like, I am worthy of a tiara. Like, you said it so matter-of-factly to me that I don't even realize that if you knew the power of what you were actually doing.
Yeah, it's so funny because I think of that, and I think that time in my life I think it was during COVID or maybe like after the big like surge of COVID, probably like maybe my sophomore or junior year of high school. And I was still in this, like, I talk about it to my friends at school now. I mean, I didn't really talk at all until I was like maybe a junior in high school, maybe a senior in high school. Like, I was really, really, really shy. And I think I was still in that moment of like, I don't feel the way that like I want to feel. Like, my whole life, I just thought that I really wanted to do something good or like be something special and be something like more than the norm. And I don't know if that comes from me just being an inherently more like creative person, type B person, whatever you want to think of it as. But I read books about princesses and like I loved princesses and I just wanted I don't know.
I just felt like you were like, why can't I be one? You literally was like, I can be one.
I mean, what I was just saying before we started this was like, I didn't realize I was doing anything like inspirational or crazy. I was just like, I just want to wear a tiara. Like, I've never done it before. I wanted to wear like I remember I used to text my cousin and be like, okay, this is our plan on how you're going to become royalty. And then I'm going to be like your maid of honor. And then I'm going to be a princess because of that. So like, I just wanted to be a princess really bad.
So badly. I love that. So, when I think about some of the things that we would talk about, and you were just saying you wanted to be someone special. I think one thing that we did, and people ask me all the time, like, what are the things that you did with your daughter to help give her that level of confidence that your value is not in what you weigh? Like, we don't have a scale in our house. Do you know what you weigh?
Well, I mean, I have to kind of guess. I mean, I do know what I weigh. I just think it's interesting because there's so much, I think, healthiness going on in our house now, especially like seeing what you teach other people, like it's so amazing and it's so inspirational for me to see just like as a girl. I mean, not even just as your daughter, but just like as a growing woman, you know, it's really powerful to see that. I do think about it. I mean, I don't think about it all the time really as much as maybe I used to, but like it is something that is there. And I do know how much I weighed because I faced a lot of issues with that my first year of college. Like that was a part of my, you know, struggles. And so I think I became a little bit more hyper aware of it. And obviously, like as a girl, as a woman, that's going to happen. I think I've come to terms with that a lot. Like I don't know anybody in my life that's a girl that doesn't have these problems.
And this is what's so interesting. So a couple of things. One of the things that we unpacked at a pretty early age was your Enneagram number.
Yeah.
And if people don't know about the Enneagram, it really is a powerful tool to be able to understand your personality, your triggers, why you do what you do, knowing that I won't get that far into it, but you can look it up. It's really powerful. You can follow Enneagram Ashton. I love her. And really understanding why you do what you do. And no number is worse or better than another. But it really helped our family, I think, especially for me to understand you and where you were coming from. But I remember when we discovered your Enneagram number, you were like, so there's nothing wrong with me. Do you remember that?
No, I do remember that, but that's just me also being
a four on the Enneagram.
No, there's nothing wrong. No, like obviously there's not. But I think being in a family where I'm kind of the only one that's like into this creative world. I mean, both of my parents are not musicians or artists. My sister wants to be a lawyer. Like I'm the only one in my house that is kind of like that. And I think maybe because of that, I was like, I'm clearly different from the rest of my family. Right. What is that?
But knowing that number, I think, is the first step. And that was the first step in like self-awareness.
Yeah.
And I think self-awareness is a big key that I have been focused on with you for a very, very, very long time. And when I think back on like where you are now, I really know and believe you have a healthier relationship with food in your body for sure than I ever did.
Yeah.
You come to me and you ask me questions like, can you think of any of the things that you've come to me to talk to me about when it comes to your body?
Oh yeah. I do it a lot because obviously as a 20-year-old person, like I get insecure all the time. So, and I think having a nutritionist mom is like, you can tell me if I'm being delusional, you know? So like, I don't know, we spent a lot of time on the beach in Singapore and like a lot of time or in Thailand and we like were in bathing suits and stuff. And I was like, I wonder if you've noticed, I wonder if my mom has noticed that like maybe my last 2 years at school, like if my body has changed because I feel like sometimes I look in the mirror and I feel like it has, and I'm like, whoa, like this, where did this come from? Like, or maybe I don't like what I'm looking at or things like that. And so I ask you, I'm like, do you notice anything different about the way that I look? Like I have, you know, like, and in a way you're like, no, I have, I think this is just your body and that is okay.
Yeah. And then the other things that I try to do when we talk about your body, and I think a lot of moms don't really know how to broach the subject on this. When we talk about I talk about the 6 spinning plates and being the healthiest version of yourself. And are you showing up to be healthy? Because healthy does not necessarily mean skinny. Healthy actually means that you have a good relationship with yourself, that you're not afraid of food, that you understand food, that you understand the power of movement and strength. I used to always say that, well, we don't know the number on the scale, but we need to know the number that we're lifting in the gym. And Dad and I try to model as much as we can around that and a balance. And that I usually ask you around, what do you want? Why do you want it? What is important to you? Why is what you look like weighing on you?
Yeah.
And what does healthy mean to you? What does it mean to be healthy? And so I think some of those conversations that we have force you to think a little deeper than just like, what does my body look like?
Yeah, definitely. When you ask me those questions, I wonder if anyone can answer that. You know, like if anyone can be like, okay, why, when I look in the mirror, like, why am I so concerned if my stomach is flat or not? Like, why do I care so much? I think something that happens to me a lot, like, because I have this like influence from you, and also like, it sucks to feel dysphoric about your body and to feel like, okay, like I remember being a young girl and being like, I just wish I could gain weight because I'm way too tiny. Like everyone sees me and they think I'm 3 years younger than I actually am. And you know, like all of this stuff. And then like I grow up and I get older and now I'm like, well, now I wish I was tinier. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. You know, every single body is different. Every single body grows differently. And I think to think about it in the way that's like, okay, right now I look this way because I just did this, or because I literally just woke up, or whatever it is, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think I also have a video saved in my TikTok that's like that like little like thing at the bottom of your stomach, that little like thing that's not as flat. Yeah, those are your organs.
Right.
So don't freak out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's fine.
That's actually one of the things I do like about social media. And you and I will share different reels and stuff like that around this kind of topic, because I know that there's some good stuff out there, right? But I also know that you being in college and being in an arts program where there's dancing and everybody is really like judging kind of the way you look, right? That's where even more conversations have to happen. And I think for moms out there, it isn't going to be one conversation. It's not going to be one thing, one magical thing you say. And I think that for moms, I was on a struggle bus for a really long time as I was raising you. And I really tried to be honest with you. And I'm guessing there's a lot of things you don't even remember about what we've talked about. But I knew that things were like going in the right direction when you would come to me when you had struggles or questions. Yeah. So it wasn't about you not having any struggles. It was about you coming to me because you felt like you trusted me enough to be able to help answer the question. Right. And it wasn't even as much as me answering them, because we talk about food, we talk about nutrition, we talk about what does it mean to be healthy. But then I try to ask you questions that get you thinking. Yeah. And I think that those are really important pieces of it.
Definitely.
So how do you define health and beauty now?
That's a good question. Oh, I don't really think of it in like a very specific way. You know, I think there are methods and it goes in and out of like, I feel pretty right now, or I feel like healthy right now. I think it's different and it comes and goes. And there are definitely times where I feel like the definition of being healthy and beautiful is like whatever I want it to be. And like, I feel this way. I feel good in my own body and whatever. Like that comes and goes a lot, I think, for everybody.
But you said before, like, you know who you are.
Yeah, I know who I am. So it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. I don't think that is a stretch to say at all. Like, I do think being confident in just like who I am as a person and feeling like more than what I look like, I know what my morals are. I know who my friends are. I know what I will put up with and what I won't put up with in terms of things like that.
And this was a huge work in progress for many, many years.
Oh, yeah. And it definitely still is, because then when I'm put in front of hard situations like that, like, who knows if, like, I never want to, like, bend my morals or bend my expectations and things like that. But when times come, you know, like, things change. But, like, more for me, focusing on, like, how I am as a person and what I do in the world and how I move in the world and how I help other people and how I treat other people is becoming more important to me.
Well, we also like to watch certain shows together. Yeah. And so we just finished watching Building the Band.
Building the Band. Everyone go watch it. It's so good, guys.
So good. But it was so interesting because I love having these are where the teachable moments for me as a mom, I think, come in, where we can watch certain things and talk about certain things. Or I can watch you and how you're interpreting things, and then I can decide if I want to respond or not. Because I always say the loudest voice wins. But I also know that I cannot beat over your head a certain concept because you're just going to shut down, right? But like, and Building the Band, there was like one person in particular who was, by the social standards, beautiful, right? Like, she was like that very thin, blonde, like,
blue eyes, whatever. Like.
And when we first were watching it, it was like, oh, you know, like you have sort of a reaction to a person that looks a certain way.
Right.
And as you got to know her, and she was just a very difficult, toxic kind of a personality, she made other people feel worse about themselves. By the time she was like voted off, you were like, you didn't even want to, you don't even almost want to look at her.
No.
And it's terrible to say because I don't want to, but like the way somebody comes across really has everything to do with their inside, not their outside. And then we saw other people that either by societal standards, or by initial first glance, you wouldn't necessarily categorize them as the most fit, the most beautiful, by the world standard.
Right.
But by the end of the show, you were like, I want that person to be my best friend.
And I think it's so interesting too, because there's one band that they built in this show that the judges kept telling them they were just so unconventional, or like they said, I think 4 people waiting at the bus stop.
Yeah, like you look like you should not be together.
You look like you shouldn't be together. And I remember I told you, I was like, I don't know why they keep saying that, because to me, they look so great together and they are a beautiful band, and they're not, maybe they don't all meet like every single like beauty standard.
Yeah.
But like, because you don't meet a beauty standard in one country or in one state or in one town, doesn't mean you're not beautiful. Like those people, I when I first saw them, I thought all of them.
And the way they worked together, there was another way that how emotional they were and in touch with their feelings. And I think that's like where we actually have to redefine what beautiful means. And these are the conversations that I think we've had for many years, just organically. It's not like I knew exactly how was I going to keep my daughter from having an eating disorder? How was I going to keep my daughter from obsessing about weight and her body the way I did? And I was thin when I was in college. I was an athlete. The size of your body does not matter when it comes to body dysphoria. It literally does not matter. And a lot of times I will see moms when I talk to them on the phone about being a client of mine in my private practice, I'll ask about their daughters and they're like, oh, my daughter's doing fine. She like works out. She's really thin. She doesn't have a weight problem. And I'm like, hold up.
If you think that your child doesn't, they probably do. I mean,
because you haven't been having the conversations.
It's obviously about having the conversations, but I mean, what were you thinking about when you were 20 years old? Like, it's not.
But I know that I wasn't being given the conversations.
Right. That's, it's true. And yeah, especially if they're not getting conversations. I think even me as a person who does get conversations, I still struggle with it all the time because I'm a young person and that is literally.
We even have some of your friends come to us to talk to us about things.
Right.
And I say this, like I said all the time, the loudest voice wins.
Yeah.
When I was on the Today Show, Jenna Bush Hager, who interviewed me, said that her mom never wanted to talk about weight. She like purposely never talked about it. And when she was 8 years old, she wrote in her journal, I need to lose 6 pounds. And so I feel like this has to be something we talk about.
Yeah.
We won't get it right. But what advice do you think you could give to moms who are raising daughters, regardless of what age they are? Because we could have moms that are raising still like, obviously have daughters in their 30s. They have grandchildren. But also in that age range when I realized it was a problem, you were 6, up until now, so last 14 years. As you think about how you have evolved, I mean, to be 20 and to have the confidence that you have, even though obviously you have your own things that you're working through, what advice could you give to moms to be able to help daughters get to a place of confidence like you're at?
That's a really good question. I think it's hard. It's hard for me to give a straight answer on that because I'm not a mother and I don't know.
So let's do it this way. What do you think a girl needs from her mom?
Yeah. Well, I think a girl would need somebody to relate to. I think having somebody, I mean, for me, like if I think about it, like if I didn't have you and the way that you are now, or maybe the way that you were before you started going on this whole journey with your business and everything that you're doing now and everything that you're teaching, I had my older cousin.
Yeah.
And my older cousin, 4 years older than me, but still like a girl. And I think a disconnect, at least in my brain, and I don't know if this is the same for everyone else, but a disconnect was like, my mom is my mom, but at the end of the day, my mom is also just a girl. Like, you know what I mean? She's also a girl and she also lived everything that I'm living. And I think it's really easy to forget about that. And I think as a mother, being able to relate as like, or just like see and hear what you're saying and just reminding them that like, no, I'm a girl too. Like I experienced this too. And to not be like, oh, why would you say that? Like, you're so beautiful. You're so thin. Like, don't say,
like, blow it off.
But don't blow it off because they're not blowing it off. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point because I would say to things like, I would explain to you some of the ways that I felt when I was in there. And also I remember I said to you, even if you don't want to talk to me about it,
ask up. Asking up is it's important. It's really important because
what is that? What did we mean by that?
Asking up, it's like don't ask the other people your age because other people your age
say they're dumb.
They're dumb because they haven't experienced. I mean, they haven't experienced.
I was like, your friends are dumb.
Your friends are dumb.
I mean, I love all you girls. I love. But when you were like this with each other, you gave each other dumb advice because nobody had the experience.
From what I've learned so far, the only way that you can speak on other experiences and help other people is if you've experienced it in some sort of way, or if you're close to an experience.
So I do think the asking up philosophy also got you to listen to me sometimes more because I was an up.
Right.
You know,
I think now, and I think also like I can say all of these things, like relate to your daughters and whatever, but when you have a 14-year-old daughter, like it's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen like that. Like I think it's just, there is a disconnect, and that's, I mean, depending on your relationship, obviously. But like now, like I feel like I can relate to you more because I'm becoming a woman myself.
Yeah.
And I can relate to other women.
That's a good point. You know, like when you have a daughter that's 14, I'll share some of the little insight that I got when I was becoming a parent. So I remember hearing that when from 0 to 2, your job is to keep them safe. Like literally your job is to keep them alive, right? Then from 2 to 12, your job is their teacher. And that was like a big chunk of my life where I wasn't healthy. I wasn't in a healthy space, and I was working on that. So how do I teach something that I didn't know?
Yeah.
That was hard for me. And I kind of clung through it a lot, but then worked through my own things and tried to be thoughtful around that. And then from 12 to 16, you are their model because they don't want to talk to you.
Right.
And so I remember really being thoughtful around saying things like, oh, I shouldn't have that second piece of cake. Or, oh, I'm cheating, or I'm being bad. You never would have heard me say that. You would have when you were younger, but not as you got older. Because as I had gotten that advice from the parenting coach that I had, because I worked really hard to try to do a variety of things to change my family tree around this mindset. That was one of the big things. Be really thoughtful about where my own words are coming from when it comes to how food controlled me. And so those were big, even though I knew you weren't talking to me about things. And I was always like, ask up if you won't talk to me. I knew that what I modeled, you would catch on to eventually.
Definitely.
And then from 17 to about 19, 20, you are their coach. And we saw that I mean, especially in your freshman year in college.
For sure.
We had a lot going on and we had a lot of conversations and we worked through so many different things together. But then from 20 onwards, we become their mentor. And so being your mentor is like such a privilege because they're still teaching and mentorship, but you become your own person there. So I don't think it's ever too late for a mom to be able to impart these values.
Definitely not.
But I do think you make a good point. If you're in that 14-year-old range, it's going to be different. But that's where I think the rubber hits the road with someone like me. I got to make sure that I'm really, truly doing and believing the things that I want my daughters to do and believe because we're modeling for them.
Definitely. I think so too. I think when I was in middle school or when I was like younger high school or even just high school in general, I was so caught up with my own life. And I think sometimes it really came out at home. Like I just like couldn't stand being around my family sometimes. And that comes with puberty and that comes with, you know, whatever crazy things happen and girls is
but every day they come back.
They come, definitely. Because I mean, at the end of the day, my mom is my friend and like, that's how it should be. I think it takes a second to adjust from my mom is my mom, like this is my mother. But this is also like my friend, you know? So,
and I always believed in you. And I wanted you to believe in yourself, but we worked through a lot of things together. And I think the biggest takeaway is self-awareness. Yeah. Being self-aware. I had to be self-aware enough to know what I was doing and then try to teach you self-awareness to be able to understand yourself. Yeah. And then when you can understand yourself and realize what a gift you are to the world, then all those other things, the acceptance that you need from other people start to just
go away. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, self-awareness, I think, is probably the most important thing you can have.
And I remember you used to say to me, Mom, I'm very self-aware.
I'm very self-aware.
And I'm like, if you say you're self-aware.
You're probably not. But the thing is, it's also like, there's a level too, right? Like, I can say that, like, I know that I have a level of self-awareness that I do not see in other people around me sometimes. And that's because of the conversations that I'm allowed to have with my mom and like the things that I see with my mom. I've had my friends tell me that I sound like my mom when I talk to them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like there's just some like a level of wisdom that comes from it. And I appreciate that from you.
I love you. It
helps me a lot. I love you too. So I think that's really good.
You're really good at podcasting.
Thanks.
You should start your own podcast.
Maybe.
Oh, what do we call it?
We'll workshop it.
Grace and Grit. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Alliteration.
Well, if you are interested in following Grace and her career as a musician, you can follow her on Instagram at Grace Lupoli. She is an inspiration. She is a person who found her passion, ran with it, worked harder than anybody I know, and is now really truly pursuing her dream as being a singer and a dancer and an actor. And I love that. She just said, you know, I have to do what I feel is right for me. And I'm glad that we were able to support you in that. I love you.
You're the best.
Oh, good.